Greetings everybody, it's Prickly Hedgehog here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in once again. Thanks to all those people that like and subscribe and have been continuing discussion on the YouTube discussion boards with my videos. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well because the world is kind of crazy right now. The coronavirus, Covid-19, is spreading like wildfire. Lots and lots of panic buying over here in the US for toilet paper. You can't find it to save your life. If you're a DCS pilot, of course, we are taking a leading edge in the reduction of the virus, or at least the spread, by staying home and playing DCS. Virtual pilotness is a major contributor, I feel, to, at least in that section of the gaming community, to avoid the spread of the virus. So we're doing our part. Okay, all jokes aside, I do hope you are doing well. The world is kind of a little bit crazy right now, and some of the reaction, I don't know, to, what is understandably a pretty serious influenza-based disease, and it is highly contagious. Fortunately, of course, we don't have astronomical deaths, but deaths nonetheless, and problems for people with pre-existing conditions or health concerns. They are more vulnerable. We're not invulnerable to this infection, so use the appropriate precautions. And again, I hope you guys are doing well as you tune in. All right, let's cut to the chase. Let's get to this week's update with that segue out of the way. Not a whole lot of news, not because DCS have been shut down by the virus or anything like that, but they are working behind the scenes doing stuff. We just don't have any major patches this week as far as I'm aware, so just a regular little update. Okay, so today they mentioned in the email here, we've got the Virtual Lake Airshow. This is a airshow scheduled for tomorrow, the 14th of March. It's a one-day only show. It opens with Virtual Blue Impulse and features performance by the European Hornets, the Steel Eagles, the Aerovector Jet Team, the Virtual Aeroshell Aerobatic Team, and special headline performance brought to you by my Italian isn't good, but what is this? The Fris Tricolori. I can't say that right. Virtuali and the Virtual Blue Spectres, both masters of the art. I hope I got that right. Yeah, so tune in at 1400 GMT, which is 7 a.m. US Pacific or 10 a.m. US Eastern Time, to watch the virtual air shows on Twitch. And there is a link in the email to have a gander at that. You can get the full show schedule as well through the email. So that looks interesting. Again, virtual air show, that's kind of cool. I didn't actually know that we did virtual air shows. I've seen snippets of stuff, but I'm a little unfamiliar with that, so I'll have to check it out tomorrow if I have time. Okay, F-15C Eagle, fly free. This offer ends this weekend. Now, I had a frustrating week. I've actually had a bad week, to be honest. I didn't get a lot of flying time, and that is because I kept having conflicts with these new free aircraft. They kept showing up and not syncing with the game, which actually caused it to crash a couple of times, or it would just hang. I think some other people had reported this as well. I don't know what's going on there. It's annoying as hell, and like I said, it really restricted my flying time and some of the things I wanted to do this week, which was not pleasing. I also started the week by having to put down one of my cats. We had an older cat who we are very fond of, although she was a little bit of a headache because of her long fur and slight smelliness sometimes. She was I guess a loved member of the family, and unfortunately I got to the point where I said to my wife, we need to make a decision here, and it was a tough one to make. So Inspector Buckles is no longer with us, and she'd been with us for quite a long time, so I guess, she lived, she took a good innings, so I can't complain too much, but sadly, it was time. So that was the start of my week, and then I had issues, as I said, with the logins and trying to get the game to work, and yada yada yada, and that was frustrating. So moving on. So the F-15C and of course the Su-27 were part of the fighter pilot podcast, which is got lots of information, very very interesting podcast. If you're interested in that, you can check that out, and you can listen to their informative discussions about all things to do with fighter pilots and different aircraft. In this case, it's the F-15C, excuse me. Development report, we have an update here. This is an interesting one. Guns, 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 development report with all the work going on with the new damage model. This is initially based around the World War II Warbirds thing, and following a recent post by one of our dedicated community members pertaining to ballistics and round drag, we decided to check most of the guns and ammo in the sim. We dedicated an excessive amount of round dispersion due to improper gun installation characteristics which impacted dispersion values in most of the World War II aircraft. We have corrected the rigidity of these installation values and as a result have seen a drop in dispersion values on all World War II aircraft by approximately 1.5 times. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe I'll have to get out there and try it, see what they're referring to here. But it carries on, so listen in. The P-51D and the upcoming P-47 are also receiving some extra TLC. We'll be using a combat mix of M8 API and M20 API-T belts. This will better match historical data and our upcoming visual effects upgrade. Huzzah! The Spitfire as well will benefit from improved ballistics for more accurate match to historical documents such as type designation and firing tables. The GAU-8 isn't getting left out either. Huzzah! Brrr. We dedicated our information from General Dynamics. It was more of a brrr. Sorry. We updated our information from General Dynamics, which diminishes round dispersion by approximately 1.5 times. We know that many in the community have been complaining about this for some time, and with the latest data back correction, the Hog will deliver even more tank-busting fun to our faithful users. Thank you again for persisting. While no dispersion issues were found with the M61, which is on the F-16 and various other aircraft, we will be updating the PGU-type shells with improved ballistics. This should affect any aircraft using these types of shells, including the F-16. Last but not least, the F-86F is also currently under review. So far, we have found possible issues with barrel heating and cooling, so we will be continuing to make changes as needed. And that was it. No mention of any issues with the Office and coronavirus for DCS and Eagle Dynamics. Hopefully they are still able to function, and I'm sure like most people who are computer software based people, they can do a lot of stuff from home within limits. And as far as I'm aware, things are business as usual. I guess we'll get an update as time continues, but as I said, no major patches or updates this week pertaining specifically to the environment. But stay tuned, I'm sure it will happen. We are into March now, and there was a rumor, and I believe, based on the timeline, we were expecting the release of the supercarrier this month. In theory, I don't know if that's true or not. Viewers, correct me if I'm wrong if you have information. I did not check my notes or go back to some other comments I've made earlier or check my stuff. So I could be off timeline there, and I could be out of whack with my expected timeline. So excuse me, that's not coronavirus, that's just me having a throat thing. I have beer in the fridge, which is a good thing. I bought new beer and topped up my supplies in anticipation of making avoiding having to go back to the bottle store or the booze shop to pick up critical supplies of beer. Dangerously low on beer, I was, and I actually hadn't had a drink of beer for the last couple of weeks, so, I just want to stress I'm not, I don't have an alcohol problem. So, from New Zealand, we drink beer. Australasians, we enjoy a good beer. I guess one of the things I wanted to think about, I have to ask my boss this. If I'm having to work from home, am I allowed to drink? I'm in my own home, but I'm doing work for work purposes. Would I? Yeah, interesting question. All right, anyway, I guess that's it. That's a wrap for this week. I'm kind of excited about some updates. But I'm also kind of anxious about, not terribly critically anxious, but just a little, wondering how we're going to get through the next few months. Presumably we'll get through just fine for most of us, but, there is a degree of risk out there. So let's carry on flying. Let's do our part to help prevent the spread of the disease by staying home and playing DCS. Wacko. All right. I digress. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in again. I know it's a short one this week, and like I said, not a whole lot of information, but I appreciate you guys tuning in every week and giving me comments and feedback too. So we'll see you around. Keep flying. We'll talk to you later. This is Prickly Hedgehog out for this week. Cheers, guys.